Let's continue. Chapter 41 is the escape from Algiers in a chain of scenes narrated with great suspense. By my count, on more than 4 occasions, it feels like we won't reach Spain safe and sound. Before the escape, the renegade has to pretend to be a merchant, so he makes 2 or 3 trips to a place called Sargel, the ancient capital of Mauritania, and according to Francisco Rico, a place inhabited by Moriscos who had fled Andalusia and Valencia and who maintained contact with the Spanish Moriscos. Like so many of the novel's liminal sites, Sargel is run by privateers, but it's also a commercial center in which there is a vibrant trade in dried figs. At this point, the narrator, that is, the captive, gives us an extended lesson regarding the various terms used to describe the various nationalities of the Moors exiled from Spain. In Barbary, the Moors of Aragon are called Tagarinos, and those from Granada, Mudejares. And in the Kingdom of Fez, the Mudejares are called Elches. As we approach the flight with Zoraida, in what is the most intense, or what we might call the tightest or narrowest part of the narrative, Cervantes presents his readers with a bewildering labyrinth of different geographical points, customs, ethnicities, nationalities, myths, and languages. As for the problem of how to advise Zoraida about how the business was proceeding, the captive emphasizes the curious custom that Moorises had of not letting themselves be seen by other Moors unless their husbands or fathers ordered them to, whereas being seen by a Christian was not a problem. So the narrator encounters Zoraida in her father's garden, and the father himself serves as their interpreter, using the lingua franca of Mediterranean ports, the language used among captives and Moors all across Barbary and even in Constantinople, which is neither Moorish nor Castilian nor of any other nation, but rather a mixture of all tongues. Also stressing this theme of mixtures, the captive pretends that he is in the garden in search of herbs with which to make a salad. Here, in her father's biblical garden, we get our first glimpse of the renegade Moorish Zoraida. The narrator emphasizes the rich adornments with which my dear Zoraida appeared before my eyes. For example, she wore 2 carcajes, the Moorish word for bracelets or bangles worn about the feet, made of pure gold, and with so many diamonds that she later told me that her father valued them at 10,000 doblas. That's about 60,000 reales. The captive describes the rich pearls and aljofar, fine pearls, that Zoraida was wearing and calculates the overall wealth of Zoraida's father at 200,000 Spanish escudos. Naturally, this only increases the captive's interest in her. It seemed to me that I had before me a heavenly goddess come down to earth for the purposes of my own joy and salvation. What follows is a fascinating conversation between the captive and the renegade Moorish, facilitated by her bilingual or Ladino father. She took the lead, and in that mixture of languages I mentioned, she asked me if I was a nobleman, caballero, and inquired as to why I had not been ransomed. Our hero avoids the first question, and his answer to the second question is enigmatic. He says that his ransom cost him 1,500 soldanis, an Algerian gold coin equal in value to an escudo. So now we have a problem. The captive has already told us that his ransom cost him 800 escudos. Is he bragging here to Zoraida about his real worth? It seems so, and it seems that Zoraida understands because she flirts back, referring again to the problem of whom to trust among various religious groups. Truly, if you were my father's slave, I would not let him ransom you for twice as much, because you Christians always lie about everything, and you pretend to be poor in order to fool us Moors. The captive protests, claiming that he has been honest with his master, just as he is with everyone else in the world. Zoraida continues her irony, referring to the enmity among the Christians of France and Spain, and then she flirts again. "Surely you must be married in your native land." The captive responds, "I am not married, but I have given my word to marry as soon as I get back there." Zoraida, "And is the lady beautiful to whom you have made this promise?" The captive, "She is so beautiful that, to tell you the truth, and in order to praise her further, she looks a lot like you." Cervantes now reminds us of the presence of Zoraida's father. At this, her father laughed quite hard. Our lovers deceive the father with the truth right under his nose. Recall the conversations of Anselmo, Camila, and Lotario. Suddenly, Turks enter the garden. Zoraida has just referred to the rivalry between the Christian nations of France and Spain. Cervantes now signals a rivalry between Muslim groups, in this case, Turks and Moors. Zoraida's father calls the Turks dogs, and the narrator observes that they lord over the Moors, who are their subjects, with such imperiousness that they treat them worse than if they were their slaves. When the father departs, the captive assures his lover that he will come for her the following Friday. She throws an arm around his neck, and they are walking in this way when the father almost catches them. But Zoraida, being wise and discreet, pretends to faint. Recall the performance of Camila. And before leaving, the captive does something that reminds us of both Lotario and Cardenio. "I studied carefully the entrances and exits and the house's defenses, noting how well it offered to facilitate our entire business." The day of the escape arrives, and the renegade comes with a crew of Moors. Our captive's Christian allies swarm the boat, and the Moors surrender at the orders of the renegade, who previous to that moment had been their arraez, or captain. When they enter Zoraida's garden, she descends, and we all recognized her as the mistress of our freedom. Another echo of Camila is seen in the fact that Zoraida brings with her a small box filled with gold escudos. Things get complicated when the father awakes, and they have no choice but to kidnap him. During their flight, the captive highlights the goodwill of the recently freed Christians who man the oars, in total contrast to the numerous betrayals we've seen by mistreated galley slaves. The captive wants them to stop to eat, but they said that was no time to take a break. Those who were not rowing should eat, but they were not about to let go of the oars.